Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll hate Anthem as much as I do, and you want to get rid of it. So to start off, I propose that we sell our 72 shares of Anthem from our portfolio. First, I'm going to go over company information, then I'll go over sector and industry information. Then I'll talk about my valuation, and finally, I'll do the comparable analysis. So overview of Anthem, their ticker is ANTM, their beta is 0.64. Now I've seen it reported as low as 0.57 or as high as 0.698. So it can range anywhere from 0.55 to 0.7, I guess. The share price on the date I valued it, which was the 25th, was $124.50. Their market share was 32.44 billion, and their shares outstanding was 263.2 million. Now, from their company website, these are all their subsidiaries, and basically they all operate in, all these different subsidiaries operate in different states, or they do different things. So you got Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, Anthem Blue Cross, Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Georgia, Anthem Life Insurance, and there's like 10 others on their company website if you guys are interested. Next, their company background. So Anthem was formed, well, they actually started in like 1940s, and they started in Indiana. But the Anthem we know today was formed in 2004, when WellPoint Health Network and Anthem merged. Until December 2014, WellPoint, they were known as WellPoint Health, and they traded as WLP on the New York Stock Exchange, and they changed the corporate name to Anthem in December 2014, and then they began trading as ANTM. They're headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana, and they offer PPOs, HMOs, hybrid, and specialty products. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with those, but basically it's just health plans, healthcare networks. So the business strategy of Anthem is to create the best healthcare value in the industry, excel at day-to-day execution, and capitalize on new opportunities to drive growth. Basically, they're like any other insurance company. They get their money from their premiums, and then they use those to invest, to put in an investment fund. And basically, they get most of their revenue actually from their investments. If you look at their balance sheet, they don't make as much money on their normal operations of business through like their premiums and service plans. So the performance of Anthem this year, they've gone down about 11%, and the S&P 500 has been up around 5 or 6%. I'm not sure why that graph was at 9%. I guess I just took it when it was really high. Sector outlook. So the healthcare sector performance this year, it's been up by 3.02%. Like I said before, in comparison to the S&P 500, it's still underperforming. Stocks in the healthcare sector are said to be defensive. That means that the demand for the healthcare industry is basically constant. And because the stocks in the healthcare industry, they offer products and services that you need to live, obviously. So the healthcare sector is less sensitive to the business cycle. It tends to do well in the late phase and the recession phase. They tend to do poorly in the early phase and during the expansion phase, which Thomas says we're in right now. It's not really clear how they do. There's no historical pattern for it. So far this year, we've seen a lot of volatility in the sector due to the presidential election. Like I've said many times in class, some politician will send out a tweet and the stock price will just crash. The demand for the sector this year could see an increase because of our aging population, a lot of baby boomers getting older, and we have a lot of prevalent health issues. So here's the sector that Anthem's acting in. It's the sub-industry of the healthcare sector called the managed care sector. And basically what's happened this year was there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions. And basically Anthem and Cigna tried to merge. Anthem tried to buy out Cigna, and Anthem tried to buy out Humana. And I'll talk more about that later. In around June of this year, the Department of Justice tried to block both of those mergers. They felt like it would decrease the competition in the sector, in the industry, and basically they felt like it violated antitrust laws. So each of the health insurance companies in the United States, there's 5 of them. There's Anthem, Anya, Cigna, Humana, and United Health Group. They have all seen increased membership this year, and they've seen increased revenues. And basically, we're waiting on the presidential election to see how the whole industry changes, because if Trump gets elected or if Hillary gets elected, there's going to be a lot of changes coming to the industry.
What are some of those changes you expect from each candidate?
I'm not even sure about Trump. Hillary, I feel like she'll try to continue Obamacare and try to expand it and try to keep it going. Trump, I've tried to look at his healthcare plan. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to do at all. So my investment thesis, I believe that we should sell Anthem because it's overvalued. There's been ongoing mergers and acquisition difficulties because of Obamacare, and we need to move the sector allocation in the healthcare sector to its proper allocation. It's overweighted right now by, I think, 4%. I think I have the highest value sector. And so let me talk more about the mergers and acquisition difficulties going on. Basically, last year, in July, I believe, Anthem tried to buy out Cigna for, I believe it was $48 billion. And this year, with the whole, the Department of Justice tried to block that. Like I said before, they didn't feel like, they felt like it broke the antitrust laws. And, I'm just gathering my thoughts. Yeah, so there's been a lot of complications that's been going on. Anthem and Cigna have not really had a good relationship as they've been trying to fight this court case against the Department of Justice. The trial is set to be in November, so we'll have to see what happens. But basically, if the merger fails, Anthem basically has to pay Cigna $1.85 billion. And if it does go through, which I don't expect and which many other people don't expect it to go through, then it's still not going to work out because they've had a really bad relationship. They've accused each other of breaching contract throughout this whole year. There's been a lot of tension, a lot of bad publicity surrounding both of them. And so going on to Obamacare, basically for Obamacare to work, Obama needed the 4 healthcare companies, Humana, Anya, Anthem, and Cigna, to actually provide Obamacare for the whole thing to work. Now, 3 have already backed out. United Health wasn't that big into it, but it backed out. Humana backed out, and Anya backed out. So right now, we're stuck with Anthem and Cigna being the 2 providers, the big providers. And I don't know if they're gonna let it go or not, but it seems like the only reason they still had it is they're trying to use Obamacare, offering Obamacare as leverage with the ongoing court case and the mergers and acquisition. They're trying to use it as a leverage to actually get the deal to go through. Okay, moving on to my evaluation. So I tried the DCF model, like most of you guys have, and it just did not work. It was awful, pretty much. I don't know if you guys can read that, but the current market price when I tried it on the 25th was $124.50, and the intrinsic stock value I got was like $900. When I clicked on Bloomberg to check their models with the DCF, and they got around $1,000 too. So the model just did not work for that one. So I had to do a DDM model instead. I'm going to explain all my assumptions. So the growth rate I found as 8.74%, and that was incredibly high. I had to put it up really high I believe the growth rate is gonna be around 5 or 6%. But, yeah, I had to bump up the growth rate because the price was giving me around like $50, which didn't make any sense. The stable growth rate, 2.5%, that's self-explanatory. Market risk premium, we already decided that. The risk-free rate, 2%, explains itself. The CAPM, I just used the formula, market risk premium times beta plus risk-free rate. I use a beta of 0.64. Like I said before, you can either put it down to 0.57 or go up to 0.698. And then using all that, so I got the dividends from the last 5 years, and I projected it out using the growth rate. And the growth rate I found from the revenue. Thomas suggested I use net income instead, but I went and I was conservative with it and gave him a higher growth rate using the revenue instead. So even with all this, I only got a share price of $87.16. So we got a potential upside of 30% if we sell it. After that, I did some PE analysis. Basically up there, the EPS, those are the down case, base case, and up case, upside case. And the PE multiple, I actually looked it up, and 11.47% is what they expected to be next year. The 10.57% was just me taking base value, or that's actually the PE right now, I think. And the down case, that's actually the PE 2 years from now, 9.62%. Basically, I use a PE and the earnings per share to make that data table. And as you can see, they need a high PE and pretty good earnings per share to even increase their stock price. Now, the comparable analysis. So we have 5 major healthcare companies in the United States, and United Health pretty much dominates the market cap. The others aren't doing as well. And here's the enterprise value. Again, United Health dominates. Here's the forward PE. Anthem had the lowest out of all 5 of them. Operating margin, Anthem was all right, but still was beat out by Anthem and Cigna. Return on asset, they still didn't do so hot. We actually have United Health Group in our portfolio too, so that's a good sign. Return on equity still doesn't measure up. It doesn't measure up in any of these ratios. Return on capital still doesn't. So to recap, I'm not going to go over everything I just said. Instead, I'll just give you a simple explanation of why we should sell this that has nothing to do with my presentation at all. Basically, we have Anthem and United Health Group in our portfolio. As far as I can see, these companies do the same thing, and we're not adding any diversification with having both of them. Clearly, the better choice out of the two is United Health Group, and we need to get rid of Anthem because it's not doing so well. So to conclude, I recommend that we share 72 shares of Anthem and just get rid of it from our portfolio. I believe Anthem was selling around 140 at the start of this year, and it's currently at like 122 from what I checked today. And United Health Group was actually at 120 at the start of this year, and right now it's at 140, so they basically switched places. So, any questions or concerns?
Does Anthem have any like upcoming projects or innovative plans coming out or no?
No, not that I can see. I mean, they might, if Obamacare starts working with, if the merger actually goes through, and Anthem CEO said that Obamacare's exchanges might stabilize after that, and they might make a profit off that. But this year, I believe they lost $300 million off of Obamacare, so.
Yeah, you mentioned that the majority of the revenue is being funneled through their investments and not their core operations. Do you know what those investments are?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'll probably have to look at that, but that's pretty much like every other insurance. They're not gonna make as much money on their normal operations. So
Why is that?
it's just how insurance works, pretty much. Like they'll take the money that they get from their normal operations of business, and they have to make sure that they cover all their liabilities and expenses that they have to pay out for their healthcare plans. to make sure they make smart investments and actually grow their own, so that they can have profit at the end of the day.
How do you think rising interest rates, if the Fed starts hiking, will affect the company? Will this bolster its value, or is it still itself?
I'm not sure, I would have to look that up and get back to you. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Go ahead.
You mentioned that the other cost increase backed out of Obamacare.
Yeah.
That has to do with profitability for the company. Could you explain a little bit more why they backed out?
Yeah, sure. So United Health Group, as far as I can tell, they were never really that much involved in Obamacare. So they backed out, I believe, not sure if it was this year or last year, but they were never that much involved in it. They had some losses on Obamacare too. The other two, Humana and Anthem, they're also trying to consolidate to cover up the losses for Obamacare. And so with the ongoing trial and the antitrust trial that's going on, since they probably won't get to merge, they felt like they should just drop it to cover the losses from Obamacare. I'm not exactly sure how Obamacare like causes them losses. I would have to research that more to get back to you. Go ahead, Son.
Do you think based on the election, let's say if Hillary doesn't get to continue Obamacare, do you think they'll back out as well? And they'll kind of bring their profits back?
Well, it depends on the trial.
Okay,
It depends if they get to merge or not.
okay.
And that frame, I guess we'll have to wait and see. If they do get to merge, I don't feel like they'll back out. But if they don't, then they'll probably back out soon. And it doesn't look like they're gonna merge, so. Yeah.
I just have a comment. Donald Trump actually wants to remove state lines for healthcare,
Okay.
so that's going to significantly impact the stock, just because you're going to have more people to compete with. Exactly. So that's another reason why we should sell it.
Okay, cool.
I just agree with that.
That's really helpful.
I'm hinting to the OneDrive, is that gonna close that position?
Yeah.
So it's gonna close it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so even after we close this position out, the healthcare sector is still gonna be overweight, so I'm probably gonna have to sell something else. Yeah.
United.
No, we're not getting that one. I don't know, I'm thinking about answer, getting rid of that.
Okay, so you said if the merger goes through, that, Obamacare is they're gonna stick with it, why do you think so? Or, because they're already in losses of 500 million, right?
I mean, they can become more efficient if the two consolidate and merge, that's why, they can handle the losses and actually go through with it. And they wanna merge, and it's good for the long term if they merge, there's less competition, like I said before. But if you don't have that competition, then you can like,
But as you can see that there are losses, obviously.
yeah,
Why
but
would so-
they can fix those. Like, for Obamacare to work, they need all four of those insurance companies that I mentioned before to stick with it until it's turned profitable, and they just didn't. That's why they were trying to merge in the first place, that's why Avenue and Humana tried to merge in the first place. And that's why Anthem is Cigna tried to merge to take on Obamacare.
But wouldn't Obamacare fail now that, like, 3 of the companies have backed down, so there's only one?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they try to do. I think Obama was actually trying to give them a bailout to continue actually providing Obamacare. I don't think you can get through Republican Congress, so we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see.
So does Anthem only make like healthcare plans, or do they provide like medical products or technology, any of that, or is it straight up just healthcare?
Pretty sure it's just straight up software.
Okay.
I mean, they have specialty products, but from what I can tell, it just looked like they provide services.
Alright, cause I feel like we're focused so much on the plans, but they don't have other stuff.
And they have some specialty.
I think it was the next slide.
It's at the bottom, that's what they offer.
Okay.
Let me research that and get back to you.
Any of these healthcare companies are based on corporations, are they like, I don't know, but like large corporations use them for health benefits and stuff? So that's where they get most of their market cap from. So like when I was at Dell, like it was all Aetna, like they
Oh, yeah, yeah.
mess with nothing else, and that's a large private company. I know they supply to everyone else too. saying, they're all very institutional versus very plan-based plans.
Yeah.
Sounds like free market, you can just go and get one.
Yeah, they're all very institutional, like, most of the market cap comes from, companies.
You would have to know what, companies are going for insurers, the big one.
I got it, 'cause they
I
have
can't tell you.
subsidiaries, cause usually it goes through the subsidiaries, the plan.
Does it?
Yeah, like they manage those little companies and then they're the ones who sell it, so they directly don't know what's being sold to who.
Yeah, 90% of the market cap is from institutions, not like just going and getting healthcare.
No, I don't want to.
All right, any other questions?